Hello and welcome back to Utterly Unfiltered with Tash and
Cara.
Thank you so much for coming back for another week.
Yay, that means we're doing something right.
Yeah, how are you? I haven't caught up with you yet.
Oh, I'm good. Today's release day. So all the albums, all the songs that have like all my favorite, well, not all my favorite artists, but like
What
a
do you
few
mean
of my favorite.
it's release day?
So, well, every Friday is when musicians tend to release like a song or an album, and a lot happens in this time of year because it's just before summer, and then they go on tour, right? Summer festivals
And they want to
stuff.
have like a summer hit.
Yeah, and they want the bangers, and they just want. So this tends to be the busiest time, which is why they advise like unsigned artists not to release at these kinds of. I am actually going to release songs, like classic. I always seem to do what I'm not supposed to do like the opposite, but today I wasn't actually really aware of the one, so it was like a nice little surprise because Lana Del Rey has a new song out, and it's classic Lana, like it's her staple, lilting, sad, melodic song.
Yeah.
I think it's called Henry Come On, and it's a sad song. I love it. I think anything she releases I'll love. I'm not biased. And then Bon Iver released an album. I haven't listened to many of Bon Iver's songs other than the ones, like I said, with Taylor Swift. But this album is phenomenal. I've listened to probably maybe 6 of the songs.
Yeah.
And I love all of them. And you know when you like listen to a song on first listen,
You're already like...
okay, cool, this is good.
Very
This
rare.
is good. It's very rare. But I am a big sucker for lyrics. Like
Yeah.
some people would say that they need to be hooked by the beat, which does happen for me sometimes, but it's very much a lyric thing.
Me too. I'm very lyrical. Whereas like Ali is like basically beat only. Like he doesn't really care what they're saying as long as it's got a good
like
beat to it.
hook.
Whereas I am completely the opposite.
Completely.
Yeah.
And I'm loving these abstract, really obscure songs at the moment. Like all bands that I'm discovering now only, where it's very like metaphorical language, or it's very disordered the way of writing. It's not like the classic rhyme structure or everything making sense. It's like very unusual. Like Sufjan Stevens, I don't know if you've heard of him. Also great. I'm going to show you a song or two of his after this. But yeah, I love Bon Iver, and now, I mean, as of today, I'm now a massive fan. Before today, I was like,
that.
I have a few songs of his that I like. But
Love
today,
that.
I'm like, I need to go and deep dive into him now. So I'm good. So like I felt that really picked me up.
You've had the
That
buzz.
was great. That had the buzz.
Love that.
But yeah, no. And then I'm always excited for podcasting. It's a busy weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of managing my time, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, good.
I really need to explore some more music, to be honest with you. Like I think because I also have Apple Music rather than Spotify.
Yes, me too.
So I don't. Oh, do you also? Yeah. Oh, I thought you had Spotify for some
No,
reason.
I shared a Spotify story, but it's I don't have the. So I can't listen to. I can listen to Spotify, but without the premium membership, you can't like. It's
You can't like select songs and things. It's really annoying. Because I feel like there's a lot of good playlists on Spotify. And there are good ones on Apple too, especially like throwback playlists are very good on Apple. Like if you want like an 80s playlist or whatever. But I would say like they're probably their new release playlists, because I think they like try to like curate ones that are only based on your previous listening history. They can sometimes get it like so wrong. Because like if my previous listening history is like an 80s throwback, and then all of a sudden in the new releases they've got all these like indie artists, and I'm like, okay, just because I like, or like R&B artists, just because I like a bit of 2000s R&B on a Friday when I'm like getting ready for my night out or whatever, because I want to feel like I'm back in a teen in the club again, doesn't mean that I want to listen to released in 2025 R&B music. Like that is not.
You think they take the overall picture of your listening when you think
but then again, mine's so varied. Like I've got so much country music because of Shania Twain.
It's true.
And I love Shania Twain. And I also love Morgan Wallen, and I love Luke Combs, like the big like country artists. But I would say that they have something special, and there's a lot of country artists that are just like beer trucks and tits, like that's their theme.
Yeah.
And so then it will just shuffle onto like some random man called like Joe Briggs or whatever, and his like singing about his Chevrolet or whatever, and I'm like, okay, no, like
My pickup truck.
I like the romance of like Luke Combs. Like he has really romantic songs.
He does.
That's what I like, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So I feel like they get it kind of wrong.
It's the like style of writing, maybe. Especially if you, like you say, are lyric orientated. They don't often pick up on. There's no themes of like when they say about like. I think even on my. I love that they could do this though. Like on my Apple Music, I can search songs by genre, but I don't think I can search them by mood. as an online,
yeah,
which
it's
I'd
a
love
good
to be able to be
idea.
like, oh, I'd love to listen to sad songs, or look, you can do genres,
Oh yeah.
alternative, country, folk, indie rock, pop.
I wonder if you like type in a mood, like what is a mood actually?
sad.
Sad.
Well, sad songs, but they've got their playlist, right? But
Because
I can't filter.
if you click search, they've got like alternative country hits. You're right. Like these are all just they got chill, I guess, party.
Yeah.
They're not really giving what I'm looking for.
No, they're not the emotions.
Sleep.
I guess that would be hard to filter for though, because they'd have to do a lyric check. It would have to be lyric checks to know what the song was actually
Yeah,
about,
because
right?
the thing is that with Spotify is that most of the time the playlist put together by actual people, which means that they like, you know, like as in somebody like one of your artists, favorite artists can have a playlist.
Yes.
So like for example, Halsey has a playlist called like, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like all girl artists like that she likes. And I've listened to that playlist a lot because I really like Halsey's music, and obviously Halsey will like music that's inspiring her music because that's just how people work.
Sure.
And so she's just shared her playlist, and there's loads of people who do things like that, who have like public playlists. Like, you know, we were at Spin the other day, and Ali asked the instructor, like, can I take a picture of your playlist because this has got some absolute bangers in it that I want to listen to. So like he took a picture of the playlist and like downloaded their playlist from, or like, you know, Dad had an après ski evening.
Yes.
And it's like crazy. And the what's it called, La Folie Douche or whatever, which is like a Folie Douce, not douche, is like a party club restaurant thing on the slopes, and it has like really like, you know, party like Avicii like, you know, type music. And Dad was like, oh, I need music for the night, and I was like, just type in La Folie Douce a playlist and it will come up, and it does.
Yeah.
Or like Pop-Tarts from when I was at school, like at uni, it was like our Saturday night out at the student union. Pop-Tarts has a playlist on Spotify.
Cool.
So it's like all these things which like
Spotify's great for that.
It's so good for things like that. But I don't.
And you could do shared playlists, like you could make playlists together and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that for the New Year's Eve party at your parents a couple of years ago, we did that. Question: have you touched alcohol since that party?
No.
Really?
Oh, was that before or after I went skiing?
Before.
Okay, yes. I drank when we were skiing. But since we've been back in the UK, which was the 15th of March, I've not had a...
That's so good.
Well, I've had like a sip of like Ali's
good.
wine or something, but I've not had my own alcohol.
Oh, I need to do that.
I'm not drinking until the 23rd of May.
Wow.
So, which is when we move back to Norfolk.
Okay, cool.
So don't worry, we can get absolutely pissed. We'll move back to Norfolk. I was like, excuse me? Well, that's actually podcast weekend. So I think I've already said to you, we're going to do it on the Sunday.
But we'll have to do it early. We'll have to do it early on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Okay, that's fine. Or Bank Holiday Monday?
Or Monday. Yeah.
Are you free on Bank Holiday Monday? Because it's Bank Holiday. Let's just do Bank Holiday Monday then.
I have a gig basically in Cambridge on Sunday.
Oh,
afternoon,
amazing.
So we could do some, but I don't want to talk too much that I lose my voice. Because I have an hour and a half to sing.
Oh, it's a long time, isn't it? That's a full set.
It's proper.
Yeah.
You get paid for it though.
Amazing!
I know!
Well done!
Thanks.
I love that. Hey, you should tell the podcast where it is in case anyone who is in Cambridge.
Royston? I need to figure out the actual place, the name of the pub. I have it in my phone. On the 26th? Is it the 26th?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like
yeah,
that.
the 25th, I think, maybe. 25th.
Sweet.
Of May.
And I have some summer festivals as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be so good.
Yes,
love that.
We're finding our mojo again.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to jump into that in the episode, but what I was going to say was that our next podcast we can get absolutely hammered. That was the theme.
Like the whole thing. We're just going to
the whole time, the whole way through.
Talking absolute. Well, maybe we'll have wisdom nuggets.
We can make espresso martinis.
We should make matchas. We should make alcoholic matchas.
Matcha martinis.
Oh
yes! my god! Okay, no, it would be vanilla vodka, matcha, and then like maybe like a white chocolate liqueur.
Oh boy,
so good! I bet you that's so good because usually a espresso martini is espresso, vanilla vodka, and Kahlua.
We can just make up. We're gonna make up our own cocktails. Sell it.
We can make a chai cocktail too.
But we should sell it.
What, sell it from our glass or?
No, we should invent a new cocktail and then like get packaging and everything, like do it proper professionally and then sell it. You know,
You think I need another side hustle?
Yeah, I think we do.
This will be
successful because alcohol sells.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And then on the back of it, we'll put like Utterly Unfiltered, like, or we'll put just a barcode to the podcast.
We can sponsor our own business. And then our business can sponsor our podcast
as
well.
Oh my God. And it can sponsor our alcohol problem. By drinking our own products. I know. I
haven't drank anything since March.
You're amazing. Tell me. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, don't tell me. Because we'll tell everyone now. But this basically links into the theme of this podcast. Which is...
I'm like, how does alcohol look?
No,
how not to ditch the career train?
Yes, because we're talking about it starting another side hustle.
Oh yes,
and actually that's one of my big problems is that why I then stop doing things because I start doing new things because I get excited about other things.
Lack of focus.
And I can't like rein myself in. So anyway, that's what our podcast episode is about today.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, we should have started that. I can't speak today.
Oh my gosh.
We should have started with that, shouldn't we, really? Yes. No, when we were talking about the music thing, I was like, perfect. You were getting your mojo back again. I was like, this links in. This is amazing.
And now we're starting a cocktail
brand.
brand.
I'm really describing it and losing the flow massively. Ooh. But, you know, I'm doing my best, guys. Today we just thought we'd chat a little bit about how, you know, I don't know, I think that we have spoken so much on this podcast about our side hustles, about our jobs, about our career crises, about our just trying to work out what our purpose is, wanting to find purpose in our work. There's just so much that I think we're aligned with there. Like, we both have that urge to find something that is our actual makes ends meet or whatever, you know.
Like our passion becomes our
profit.
Our main focus.
Exactly.
And we can spend all the time that we
And we can make money from it. Because you need money to live, unfortunately, as I found out. God dang it.
Can't you just live on dreams and hope? No.
Rainbows and butterflies.
Oh, cute. Yes. And I think that's why we started this initially, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the fact that we are in a similar place of wanting to figure that out. And also because we acknowledge that a lot of people are too now.
Yeah.
And I do think, sometimes I think of it as a blessing and a curse. Like, I love that we have enough freedom now in this day and age and enough like autonomy to be able to go and do that. But I do also think, like, there is a burden in choice because of the fact that we can do all of these things.
Yeah.
Because we can go and retrain, or we can do courses, or we can pick up a skill.
Yeah.
Or because we can budget better or whatever. Like, we've kind of feel like, or I think that we feel like we then should.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I should. Like, they say it with dating, right? It's like, now you have choices and options that you never had in the past. So you're more tempted to go and explore all of them. So I'm fortunate, obviously, that I do have the ability to do music, but it does make me... Yeah, it does make me wonder, like, would I be more settled in my mind if I just had no choice? I just had to put my head down and work and then enjoy the benefits that it gave me, because I'm not questioning it all the time. This is the opposite of inspirational, but I'm glad I'm not on that track. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that I have the option. I'm obviously exploring other options.
Yeah. Well, it's actually so funny that you say that, because so my boyfriend's dad listens to our podcast. Hi, Peter.
Shout out.
And he listened to our career crisis episode, and we were talking at home, and he was saying, like, you know, it's interesting because it gives him an insight into how, like, we think, because obviously he's like of a different generation, but also just of a generation that didn't have that choice, and that when they made strange choices, like they moved from like up north down south, strange in quotations, you know, what's the
unorthodox,
word?
Or
like
they were
just not what everyone else is doing. Choices, basically moving, you know, all the way down south from all your family and everything for a different type of job. You know, that's considered like, why are you doing that? And I guess that because there wasn't that option of choice, But whereas now, like you said, you know, we just have so many different things that we could do or want to do, and there's so many different types of careers now as well, like, and there's so much more movement with, especially with like remote work and everything, like where you are doesn't impact what you can do necessarily. So much of what we do is online now.
True.
It's not like, oh, I live in an area which is like mostly residential, I know what makes sense, I'm going to fix washing machines.
True.
Like,
True,
you know, there's just,
the world is open to us now. There's
literally
endless possibilities,
anything.
really.
Like, I work for a completely global company.
Sure.
Like, you know, majority of the company do not live in the UK.
Sure.
So, like, there's just no... We could work from anywhere.
There's no, like, natural limiting factors anymore.
No.
Other than the fact that, okay, if it's, like, a really intense job, like a doctorate or whatever, then you have to go, retrain, which rightly so, thank God. But
also, how many doctors come from families of doctors?
Also true.
Like, so many of them. It's predetermined.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a thing. You hear it so often.
True.
Like, I became a doctor because my dad was a doctor, my mum was a doctor, and my uncle was a doctor.
That's true.
So I was also expected to be a doctor. Same with things like vets. You know, anything, or... Lawyers,
yeah,
yes.
Family businesses,
absolutely.
Farmers is a big one.
Farmers, yeah, like, so much stuff is like that. And I think if you don't come from a path like that, you know, like, my dad never expected me to do what he does. What?
What he did.
He did for a living. Like, that was never expected
Dud
ever
is the
of
past
me.
tense of
Dud. Literally, what? My brain is not working today.
But it's a long day. It's late.
Yes, well, yeah, a little
but
bit.
we're sort of like,
We're cracking on.
But
yeah, no, I agree.
Right.
There's too much to think about, and I think it's true. Like, it's almost like we have analysis paralysis.
Ooh, analysis paralysis. You coming up with the catchphrases. I like that.
Words like dud.
Words like dud, yeah. But analysis paralysis sort of brings you back. You're back on my level now.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So you're right. Is that basically like we overthink things because we have so many things to think about?
Yeah.
And then it makes us like...
We're like paralyzed by all the analysis we have to do, by all our options.
Yeah, I think we are confused.
Yeah.
I am a little bit worried about our generation running the world one day. But then I kind of look at the upper generations, like our friend in America there. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we can't be worse.
No.
Can we be worse? Surely not.
The thing is
not
that
to get political,
you bring a good point. Like, I would love to be one of those people that is making a positive impact. You know, like, I could think, like, for example, there's have you ever heard of girls that invest?
No.
It's like it's a social media, it's a book, and there's this woman called Simran, and she lives in New Zealand, and she's 27, crazy.
Oh, God.
And she has a whole business on teaching women how to invest. And I think she used to be a dentist or something, like, not in investing. That wasn't her job, but she taught herself how to invest, and then now she teaches other people through, like, you know, workshops and her book and her podcast, and she's really good and super transparent. And I just think, like, there's people like that out there that give me hope that, like, no, she has a really good brain. She knows what she's talking about. She's being super transparent with... She is working for a bigger mission that's positive.
She's wanting to develop the society around her.
And, like, don't get me wrong, like, she's making millions. Like, she's, you know, having a great time of it by making these courses and making this podcast and having a social media platform. But good. Like, you deserve the money because you're doing something good in the long run. There obviously are the other end of that spectrum as well. But there are always going to be good and bad eggs, and sometimes having that freedom of choice changes somebody who's going to be a dentist into being someone who has a social media platform that helps people.
Sure.
When maybe 30 years earlier she wouldn't have had that opportunity. Yeah,
true. It's true. My brother said it to me because last Sunday I was recovering because I had my a work birthday drinks things the day before. And I was staying over at my friend's house, and I woke up on the Sunday, and my brother called me, and it was like 10 a.m. and I was still in bed. And David was like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you up to?" And I was like, "No, I'm just waking up in bed." And then, like, later on in the conversation, he said to me, "Oh, what are you up to today?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, just music and trying to figure out my life." And, you know, and then he was asking me again, another point in the conversation, like, how, you know, what's happening, how's my friends? And I was like, yeah, like, some people going traveling and blah, blah, blah. And David was like, excuse my French. He was like, oh my God, like, your generation are going to fuck up the world. Because none of us know what we want to do. None of us are doing any. We're just, like, finding ourselves. And
okay.
Part of me...
Not to call out your brother
joking.
here, but I remember a point in time when he was in his early 20s where he blew his little life up so that he could go travel the world and do some things, and then came back and had a normal life.
I don't know. I mean, he worked in Boston for 3 months.
True, it was working.
When he was 20.
That's true.
And then, I don't know, but I he was joking, but then I took it as that. But then I got to thinking, and I was like, yeah, like, we kind of all are a little bit confused, which leads me to this topic. But then at the same time, I can only hope that actually, because I think, so in the moment, the way I see it in the world, with the approach that our older generations have had, like, we're not lacking in experience and skill and knowledge. So, like, all of the sort of business, businesses are flourishing to an extent. People are, like, technologies are developing. Maybe we won't be as enriched in that field. But I think emotionally and, like, I don't know, I think emotionally and with well-being and attention to mental health and stuff, I think we'll be more developed.
Yeah.
So maybe we won't be, and I think we almost do need the pendulum to swing.
Yeah.
I'm moving my mic as I do that. I told you I talk with my hands, right?
It's hard, honestly.
So yeah, maybe maybe like with AI and stuff, like we'll become a little less intelligent or more. Who knows?
Well,
but I think emotionally and socially, I hope we'll.
But you say that, but then I feel like that's just because we have that view of the world. But then you have the whole other forethought of, like, with social media and with us all constantly looking on our phones, having no attention span. Every person around you on the tube, on the bus, on the train is looking at their phones. Like, people cannot go to the bathroom without watching TikTok. They can't do anything without checking their phone. They can't sit here and have a conversation without it being on the couch with us or whatever. That we literally, my phone is there. But, like, there's that other forethought of, like, are we going to be more emotionally intelligent, or is there just going to be, depends on what you're exposed to, and what social media you're exposed to actually becomes such a huge part of who you become. True. So because we seek out creators on social media that show vulnerability and that allow us to feel normal in our vulnerability, does that mean that that's what everyone's experiencing? No. There are, like, people out there who are watching Andrew Tate and other incels and terrible people and believe that's their version of the world, know? So
and you kind of seek out what reaffirms your view, I think, a lot of the times. Like, that's why people are biased towards certain newspapers, because they want to kind of support what they think already. But also, I think we don't have as much control over it as we think, because think about, like, the algorithms, right? Like, I could literally be scrolling through Instagram Reels, and something could come up that maybe it's a bit political or it's a gruesome video or whatever, and maybe I'm watching because I'm sort of, like, disgusted, or maybe it's like I've just sort of I've kind of, like, stopped, I'm holding my phone and I'm talking to someone, but that sometimes is just enough for the algorithm to think, let's feed more of this, and then suddenly that's how people become, I think, sometimes, like, radicalized, right? You're just exposed to content over time, and it changes the way you think, so we don't even have much control. This is really scary now, this episode.
There's a really good book on that, actually. It's not Lost Connections, it's the other one, Stolen Focus, by Johan Hari. Those two books, honestly, he's a fantastic author. Again, I don't want to overwhelm you because I know you're just getting into your book era, but if you ever need a book recommendation, I'm your girl.
Tell me the other one as well, because I didn't write it down. I'll write it down.
Lost Connections is the other one. So Lost Connections is all about depression.
Okay.
Oh no, Daring Greatly. Yeah. No, I can literally, I have a list of all these. I can tell you. I even have the books. I think Alana has a lot of them, but, like, because I gave her a ton when I moved, but she can give some of them to you as well. Like, she doesn't need all of them. Like, I just put them all in a box. So, she was my only bookish friend at the time, Now, apparently, you're in your book
look,
era.
I've only read the I said to Tash last podcast, I'm reading Radical Acceptance. I have read the prologue.
Well done.
But I have been intending to pick it up. Like, it was 2 days ago, so I'll probably read a little bit more, maybe tonight.
Nice.
When I get into bed.
But in Stolen Focus, they talk about like ADHD and attention in general.
Because everyone seems to think they have ADHD now.
Yeah, and there's so many reasons behind that, and, like, there's so much about, like, prescription of things like Adderall in America, and how it's so freely given, and what it actually does to the development of your brain. And
Adderall, is that an anti-ADHD?
Yeah.
Is that, like, Okay.
I don't think we use it in the UK, or if we do, I think we use it under a different name, because there obviously is ADHD medication, but it's not like as, it's a bit like there's like a lot of normalized medicine in America that's not normalized in the UK. Like, you know, the whole joke of like, is it like Zoloft or something, which is like an antidepressant, which like, you know, every housewife in America is on Zoloft or whatever, but obviously not every housewife in the UK is on antidepressants, because you have to be prescribed them and you have to have
it's more regulated,
real symptoms and everything. So it's like,
you can't get over the counter stuff as much as you can. Even in South Africa, you can get pretty much most
anything.
Things.
Yeah. So so it's a little different, but no, they talk a little bit about was it that book though? Or was it a different book? No, I'm sure it was that book. He interviewed somebody who used to work at Facebook and who created the endless scroll. So you know how originally, like a web page, you'd get to the bottom and it would load, and then it would load the next bit of the page, or you'd click next. You know, on Google, you go to the bottom and go next, and you go to the next.
Yes.
You know how like on Facebook you can just scroll forever, you never get to the bottom. It's called like the endless scroll.
Okay.
That's a new thing that was implemented, 8 years ago or something. Okay. And that is like one of the biggest things that's taken our attention away, because now we don't have any kind of break.
And we don't wait. Yeah.
So we can just scroll forever, and before you know it, you've wasted 2 hours. Whereas before you'd have to get to the bottom page and press next.
Yeah.
Next. And that break of next means maybe I've had enough. I'm on page 17 of Google, you know.
Sure.
What am I doing here? Yeah. Like, you know.
It's true, but it's the same with music. So one of the producers I work with went to a conference, and there was like with other, like it was quite, I think it was a national one, and a lot of the discussion was around the timing of songs, and because our attention spans are reducing, they predict that something ridiculous, I hope this is not true, but something ridiculous like 2028 songs are going to be like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about, like, I listen to 3-4 minute songs.
Yeah.
But even on TikTok, like, and my stats personally with Instagram is like, I can see how many people, and it's the only stat that, one of the only stats they give you on timing is 3-second views. And majority, like 78% or 79 or 80%, I think I checked my reel earlier, of people were just watching the first 3 seconds and then scrolling. Yeah. So if you don't hook people in 3 seconds, because we don't focus, we don't invest in the long term. Terrifying.
Yeah. And that person from Facebook, he ended up leaving, and I think he wrote a book on it, because he was like, or she, I don't know who it was, but they were like, this is fucked. This is gonna change our world, and I think it has. Like, there's just so much in social media, and it's also you talk about radicalism. So YouTube has admitted that they will serve you content that is lightly radicalized, so your suggested content will always be something slightly more radicalized. So for example, if you Google like oh god, this is going to be a hard one for me to just go off the cuff with, but confidence at work, then that's your first video. Then the next video might be, how to tell if your boss hates you. That's the next video, right? Well, you're going to click on that one, aren't you? The next video is like toxic workplaces 101. Click that one.
You in. Is that why?
The next one is like what the world isn't telling you about the corporate ladder. And it's like, and each one is like, how to manipulate your way into a promotion. Like, and it gets darker and darker. Thank you.
Have you entered this wormhole before? It sounds
not like this one, but when I tell you the amount of times when I was a kid and I would watch music videos for bands, the amount of times the suggested video would be like an Illuminati conspiracy theory.
True. Was and like back then, right?
Yeah, it was like considerable. True. Like considerable. And luckily enough, even at that age, I remember clicking in and being like, this is BS, and getting the hell out of there, But like, that's not everyone. Like, you're very impressionable when you're young.
It's a minority.
Yeah.
I think, that
well, I'm a naturally fearful person, so I'm like, you're insane.
But it
Goodbye.
makes you think that you rightly so are. I mean, I see it too. It's like we become desensitized, so you need to up the ante to keep people's engagement. And it's the same with. I mean, look, even we know this when we were doing our research on like how to get people engaged in socials. People respond to negative comments or negative videos. Yeah. In fact, I was told in a music like forum once, like make it negative. Like if you're gonna say I'm gonna put a song video up, instead of what I normally do, and I stick to this because I just don't want to entice anything. Instead of like saying, this is a song I wrote about someone I love, it would be like it would be, you try and get a debate going. So it would be like, and you try and shock. So it would be like, I wrote this for someone I love, and they left me 3 days later. What did I do wrong? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's negative. It's like people have a negative bias and they want to feed into negativity. And so it's much easier for people to respond to you when it's something a little bit negative than positive. And that's terrifying. Like what we're becoming is so scary. And I even know this with like when we talk about upping the ante of, this is a confession time. My guilty pleasure on TikTok is horse hoof and cow hoof cleaning when they have abscesses. No, it's amazing. You'd hate it. You'd hate it. Basically, but it started with like just like someone changing a horse hoof.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that happen. And they file the horse hoofs down, and it's quite satisfying because it's almost like it's the same material as like fingernails. You know, it's just calcium. What is it called? Calcium? I don't know. Whatever. But it's like it doesn't hurt them. So they just file it down. It's all neat, and then they put the new sort of like horse shoe on, and it's great. But then very quickly it becomes horse shoe abscess, and then it's like it escalates to the point where I'm now like I
really
can watch all of
this.
it. I don't even feel queasy. I'm not into it to the point where I search it, but I can watch. Whereas before, I think I'd be a bit like if I just saw that off the bat. So they're very clever how they like stage it. You know how they slowly draw you in and hook you. That's very
wild.
Scary.
That's so wild. Honestly.
Come on, what's your guilty pleasure? But it has to be actually guilt. Like it has to be.
I don't have any messed up ones at all. No, I'm too much of a wimp.
Nothing quirky. No ASMR. No chiropractors. No.
Oh no, I hate those videos. Literally nothing.
How's the painting going? Are you doing any TikToks on the painting?
Not TikTok. I haven't had TikTok in forever. No Insta. I haven't been using Insta either. I've actually deleted all my Instagram accounts except for the main one now.
Same.
Yeah.
That's good. I deactivated my Instagram account for 2 hours the other day.
2 whole hours, Cara. Well done.
I know, but then I wanted to do it, and then I went back on.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a couple of messages, and I was like, oh shit, like I should probably tell those people I'm not, like, I'll transfer to WhatsApp or whatever. And then I didn't realise that you can't then deactivate again within 7 days.
Oh really?
So I'm desperate to
that.
deactivate, but I have to wait until Sunday.
Oh dear.
But then I've got a song coming out in 3 weeks' time. It's probably the worst time to deactivate.
But are you talking about your music account? Are you regular? Why would you deactivate your music account?
Because that's the one I use.
But then no one can search for it.
No, I know, so that's why I keep it up.
Yeah, so you just need to log out, Car. Or unfollow people that are making you go down the rabbit hole.
It's not even people, because I don't hardly follow many people. It's more like I am constantly on
there. Or,
you
know what you could do is use a scheduler on your laptop and schedule the content for the week and then delete it off.
I can do it on my phone, actually. I can schedule, But then I always check in because they say you should comment. You should reply to people's comments.
Yeah, but you can also do that on your laptop. I can. And then at least you're not going to end up like...
True.
Because like it's way less addictive, right? That's true. That's what I'm going to try to do with this TikTok account, because I don't have TikTok. So I don't want TikTok, but I do want to post our clips. So I'm going to try to do that on my laptop only.
So I can log out of my phone, just log in on my laptop.
Yeah.
And then I can just check it once a day.
Yeah.
Because I don't have my laptop with me, but I have my phone with me all the time.
Exactly. Do that. Yeah. Mind blown. Who'd have thunk it, honestly?
Who needs to deactivate?
Well, we've kind of gone slightly off topic, but basically the topic was obviously how to not climb a career, and basically what we were trying to talk about.
Left, though. We're going to have to
we're just going to go for it. Basically... Okay. Obviously we've basically touched on it multiple times throughout this entire episode, really. But one of the biggest things I think is that, like, when you're trying to turn a passion into profit, it's the, like, you can't slack off at work because, there's something about the accountability, whereas you can slack off so easily when it's your own thing. And I think that's like one of the things, especially with the podcast, that I've struggled with the most is, like, we talked about this in an earlier episode, but, like, I haven't done any marketing because I already have a full-time job, and marketing is a full-time job, but I can't slack off my actual full-time job. So I slack off the one I want to do.
Because you only have you to hold you to account.
Yeah.
And you don't mind disappointing yourself or letting yourself down.
No.
It's other people.
And you know what it is? Sorry, I'm just going completely on one now. But you know what it is that I feel like, because I just started a new job recently, right? And it's not taken me, I'm about 8 weeks in, 2 months in now. I probably about 3 weeks in knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm now coming up to the point where I'm almost the expert in this role, you know, like within the company. There's a couple of things that I need to learn a bit more about, but like, you know, we're almost at that stage where I am the go-to gal for that particular thing, which is like, you know, with most jobs, if that's your role, you need to be the go-to gal for that role. Like that's your whole point.
That's why it's
if you're a head of marketing, you need to be the go-to gal for things on marketing. So it's like, for me, it's onboarding. It's my I'm called an onboarding specialist. I should be specialist in onboarding, right? But obviously not going to be that on day one. It takes a few weeks to get to that point, or a few months to get to that point. And I feel like I'm like maybe like 80% there, not far off. And I definitely, at my first company, I definitely became the go-to gal on like certain things, like how to use our CRM system, or whatever. But and literally such boring stuff, honestly. But you just become it because you kind of have to. You can't like not be it. Whereas like I've had a year to become the go-to gal on how to market a podcast. I'm not even 5% there. Like I am literally not 5% there. If I had put in the last 8 months, the amount of, even think about 2 months time, right? I've done 2 months of this job, 40 hours a week, mind. And I am now almost an expert in this role. If I could give 40 hours a week for 8 weeks to podcast marketing, I think I would be an expert. Right? Like, how could you not be?
True.
Like,
because, that's true.
Because it's the same, it's not any harder. Marketing a podcast is not any harder than onboarding someone onto a platform. We were talking about all these things are admin style jobs, right? How hard is it to edit a video? You can build a strategy. How hard is it to post something? You know, you can Google marketing strategy, like not to downplay marketing to people who do marketing. And I've worked in marketing in the past. Like, obviously, yes, you have to use your brain, creative thing, whatever. But you do for lots of different jobs.
But like any job, there's a recipe for success.
Exactly.
And you can follow it. It's tangible.
Exactly. We're talking about jobs where you execute, not jobs where you kind of create, I guess.
Sure.
And even if you are creating, you're creating something that's been done many times before. So it's still not really like something that's that unique.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. I feel like I'm really shitting on people right now.
We've lost our marketing.
Maybe you just needed a little bit of a slap of reality there, guys.
Reality check. Wow. But no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. But also with that, and we touched on this previously, is I think because we only have ourselves to hold us to account, we don't have the ability to audit ourselves. Or like a lot of people do well in their role because they want to keep getting paid, or they want more money, or they don't want to get a bad review. Like a lot of it is like that, whereas you don't have those things to fear or to worry about. Okay, yes, you'll have the sense of like, oh god, if I don't start making money from this, I'm gonna struggle to pay the bills. But I think, and we don't have that feedback system, and humans are so like feedback orientated. I've realized, like if you get a good review at work, or even someone just says, oh, that was great, like well done, that was awesome, I loved what you did there, you're gonna feel inspired to be able to tell that to yourself all the time when you're solo working on something that no one else is kind of having input into, or checking in with. It's very hard to do that. So you almost need to like figure out a way to do that for yourself, to give like a self-appraisal. Like whether you have to sit down with yourself every week, schedule time and be like, okay, what have we achieved this week? What didn't we achieve? What do we need to do? Give yourself a little like, you need that level of like
embarrassment if you haven't hit your marks.
And you need to be your own manager. Like as opposed to just you as a sole employee. You need to manage yourself.
But it's just one of the things that's like, it's lovely in theory, but it's impossible in reality. It's like the concept of like, you know, I've even said it before where I've had therapy, and then after I've finished just, 6 weeks of it or whatever, I've been like, no, I'm going to keep that 1 hour every week. It's going to be Tash time. I'm going to self-therapize as bloody well if I'm watching the Kardashians in the bath. Like, I'm doing the opposite.
Don't drop your phone.
Of therapy.
The bath board.
Yeah, I have a bath board, obviously, for my iPad. Yeah,
it's terrifying.
It's waterproof anyway.
Well, that's sort of like your time with stuff, but no, you're right. To actually stick to the time that we've allotted for ourselves. So I do think that's part of it. I think like when you're working for other people, and you're reliant on their feedback, or you feel like you are, then it's very easy to do well and to focus. But when it's just for you, or you feel like it's just for you, then it's hard.
And I don't think it's a good thing either, because like if I think of like, obviously I had 6 months where I was unemployed and I was trying to, work on other things, and I was not focused, and that's the difference, is that if I had just focused on one thing, perhaps I would have got further. For example, if I just focused on the podcast, maybe I would, but I was doing about 17 things at once, trying to work out what I wanted to do. But the difference as well is that like, yeah, I didn't do things as quickly as I have in the last 2 months of this company, but that's because I gave myself balance.
Sure.
Like, I am burnt out and I'm only 8 weeks in. Like, I am knackered. I feel like I walk around in a daze. You know, I'm so glad that I'm actually here, like, as in, like, mentally here to record this podcast, because, like, earlier this week I was thinking, like, Christ, like, I'm going to be shit at this weekend, because my brain is like a blur. The days are flying by. I don't know what day of the week it is. Like, the weekends just literally disappear into shopping and washing and doing all the things that I can't do during the week. And it's like I just don't even feel like my brain is on this planet.
Yeah, your free time is not free.
No.
But that leads me to another point about how to keep yourself on track is, and this has been fundamental for me, but it's like, so just taking that as an example, and I know you were saying in the previous podcast that actually listening to one of our old ones about like career aspirations got you back into this mindset and got you back, kind of got a bit of your mojo back. And it's so important when you're doing something that you love, passion project or any kind of endeavor that you're maybe more isolated and you're on your own journey with it, surround yourself with people and strategies that keep you encouraged. So, you know, friends, family that actually cheer you on if you're fortunate to have that. Podcast, self-help books, that's what's helping me and guiding me back into the rhythm of it. Just having people to champion you and using other people's success as your motivation as opposed to something that's intimidating you and putting you off. Like, I think you actively need to build a community around yourself. Even if you have another friend who I've had this with, like, I've got a friend who wants to write, is trying to write a screenplay or a book, and she is writing one, but it's kind of finding the time to do it. Like you say, you're so tired and you're so energy deprived when you get home from work. How are you going to go and write a book, you know?
And be creative.
So it's like, it's almost like checking in with each other. And we've said many times we need to do it, but we said, let's go, we're going to have a picnic and I'll write some music and you write your book. And like, it's like using that other person as a check-in and to hold you to account to it. So I think it's just, a lot of it is the people and the things that you do and then what you're consuming. Like, it's very easy for you to sit there on Instagram when you get home and watching, well, for me it's watching like disgusting like things that chill me out, my little cow and horse hoof cleanings, whatever. But I could be listening to, like, I could be reading a self-help book. So it's so important what you spend your little attention, even if you're so exhausted. But you can still take in a little bit, like take in the right little bit. You don't take in the really rubbish stuff that's never going to help you. I say this, I don't do it, but like that's
but I think I totally agree. And I think that something that I've learned, at least from this experience, is like, or from going back to work after being unemployed, is what I'm referring to specifically there, is like, actually, you know how we talk about like toxic hustle culture and like, you know, people on social media talk about things like this. I think that if you want to be an expert and you want to grow something and you want to do it quickly, I think that's the only way.
You gotta hustle.
Like, I genuinely think, like, and this is something that I'm trying to teach myself, is like, if I do have 8 weeks again to focus on the podcast, and I don't think I'm gonna have that unless I get fired, but like I don't think I'm gonna have that for as long as maybe until next summer. But if I did have it, or in next summer, then I need to actually be doing that. 9 a.m. I'm at my desk and I'm working, and then I take my 10 minutes to run and grab myself some lunch and make I make scrambled eggs on toast, and I run back upstairs and I eat it at my desk, and I'm continuing to work, and I'm working until 5:30 when I go to spin class. And it's like, it's not healthy, and I don't think that it's a good thing that that's my life at the moment when it comes to work. But I do think that actually, if I want to take something and kickstart something seriously, the gentle method didn't work.
It didn't work for me.
And therefore, I need to do a better job of actually being like, well, fuck it. I do it for someone else who I don't care about and their company I don't care about. Why the heck would I not do it for me? And something I do care about?
But with the caveat that actually some people, I agree with you, and I think for me I would need to be more disciplined with it. Although I don't regret the time that I spent when I did sort of music full time, right, for a year. A lot of the time I didn't do music at all. I did like meditation, mindfulness, read books about, and actually that got me into a place where I could create. So it was almost like part of the process, right? But then other people, all they need is like, and I do this at work, I will have hours where I do nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone. But then I have like 3 hours where I just graft and I grind, and for somehow I can focus.
Yeah,
and I get everything done, and
yeah.
I've never been behind on a report, and
Yeah.
and people kind of leave me alone because I get it done and some, you know. This is the job that I'm not going to be having for like a
much longer
soon, so I feel like I can say that. When is this coming out?
Oh, I don't know. Sometime.
The other job that I'm carrying on, I love, and I don't go on my phone at all. There's also really no signal, so you know. Anyways, we digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sometimes it's like some people can work for less hours of the day.
Oh, I totally agree.
And it's the right things. It's like what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You could spend a 9 to 5 day, do very little in relation to the grand goal.
Yeah.
Or you could spend 2 hours, do something like fundamental, and have achieved more in your day, you know. So it's like what you make of the time as much as
definitely
the time you have.
But I think you've got to put those things first.
True.
And that's the thing that I think it's so easy to be like, I had a really productive day today because I changed the bed sheets, I did the laundry, I meal prepped our lunches. This is when I was unemployed, right? I did some painting, I read my book. Oh, like, you know, I texted my friends back. You know, I spoke to my mom on the phone. Yeah. Like, I made a doctor's appointment. Yeah. These are the things that we do not do when we're working 40-hour weeks.
No, true.
Like, I don't reply to nobody, okay?
Yeah, for sure. And can we end on a sort of like my profound advice? It's not profound at all. Everyone will say the same. Don't give up. Like, literally, I've read so many things, I've seen so many, and it's literally just keep going. Like, you can't not make a success of something. However you define success, you can't not achieve. Like, even if I think about my music success, okay, I'm not where I wanted to be. I'm not where I want to be still. But I look back on the year that I had, and I had success. And it was small success, but it was success. So, like, there is no other recipe to success other than keep going.
Yeah.
Like, it's simple, but it's so hard to do, but it's simple. If you can do that, you know, it's kind of, you're half the battle.
Yeah. Keep going in that 1 hour a day that you have.
Do it.
To keep it going. Yeah, all right, that was a very long-winded episode, but I hope that you enjoyed it, got something insightful out of it. I'm not sure what we're going to title this because
I don't know. It was a mixture.
It was conspiracy theories. It was
horse hooves. Let us know your guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures. It was
give me something
a little bit of toxic hustle culture. It was a little bit of
it's almost a bit
self-help books. It was a little bit of
wow. Okay,
a little bit of everything.
It's gonna be miscellaneous, maybe.
That's cute. I like that.
Yeah, we should actually. People be like, "What am I in for? Who knows? Who knows?" But yeah, come back next week. Maybe we will have something more structured. Maybe we won't.
Maybe we'll have been more self-disciplined.
So I don't know.
And we'll focused on writing podcast scripts before we do our laundry and do the garden and take a shower and text your friend back. Maybe next time.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.